All right, I would like to call to order the Oconee County Art and Historical Commission, February 11th. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from last month, January 14th. They are attached in our packet. There are no changes or missing items. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes as provided.
Second.
Okay. Great. I'd like to go ahead and take a minute to just recognize Melody Davis, who will be joining us now as representing District 4. Thank you. Melody, welcome.
Get the special looking forward to it.
First item of our discussion items is the public art and mural promotion session.
I will share some updates.
You want to share some updates?
Yep, we'd like to. In your packet, I have provided you a bid quote, if you will, from Printed on a couple of items. One of those being a calendar that you had been talking about, and another being a graphic mural placemat, if you will, that will help use as a QR code. So because of COVID, I'm not going to pass these things around unless I'll touch them or whatnot. But this is the calendar. It is a full color calendar. And you can choose as many prints or murals as you like to be on the calendar. And of course, you've got plenty of room for interpretation. And then each month has a nice picture at the top, just like a standard calendar would. So this is what he has quoted us, the sample product, and you can see the numbers there for those calendars. I'll also show, this is a product. It's got it's a 12 by 12. It's got a little bit of a tack on it to keep you from slipping if you step on it. It's made to go on the ground. So if you think about the murals, then being, a lot of them are on public buildings, not government buildings. Some of them are on private buildings. And this is an idea to have something on the sidewalk. It would have a QR code on it. You would take your phone, you would hold it over the QR code. That would direct you to the web page that would then give you the information and interpretation that we put together, or you put together, or the artist puts together about the mural. So you can then interpret the mural as well as the artist and give a little bit of credit and highlight to the mural process. When we talked about the process, the big question was, where do we house all this stuff? So I had a meeting with Ken Sloan with Visit Oconee. We sat down and looked at where we could, help with setting up the murals. And if you're familiar with Visit Oconee SC website, visitoconee.sc.com, if you go to play, and there's an arts and culture section. And that arts and culture section lists all the things that are in our passport as well as some other items. What we're proposing to assist with this project is to add the murals on that arts and cultural piece. So our web creator for Visit Oconee would build our web page for the mural process, and then we have unlimited how many we can add to it. So once we build that page, they can then just add the content. And once they add the content, they will create the QR code. So there would be no additional cost for the QR code. So that's just part of the process. They have the ability to create that as you set your landing page for the next mural. The cost to build that page onto the website, add it to what we've already got, is a maximum of $1,500. So they said it could be somewhere between $950 on the low end, $1,500 on the high end. And they really won't know till they dig in and start, tweak it, everything that we want to share. So that's kind of where we are on the website. A max of $1,500. You can see these are very cheap. You know, these are $10 a piece basically to get, so you got $10 per mural to put this down. Or if you choose to go, or if you have a building that they would rather have a plaque for the mural, then you could do a plaque that would also have a QR code on it. So it just depends on the location of the mural. Some murals are in places where you could do that on the building, some are not, and you would need to put it on the sidewalk. In all situations, we would have to get permission from, you know, whoever owns the building, or if it's a sidewalk from the city, to make sure that they're okay with us doing that project. So that's kind of some background of some information that we found from the last meetings today. You have $3,500 in your account that's remaining. You know, your lowest calendar, 250 is basically $2,500. And then you've got up to $1,500 on your webpage, and then the cost of whatever we do here, which, you know, if you do, you're looking at probably $250 or $300.
Can I get a bit of a clarification? These calendars, we still have to pay somebody to go take pictures, right?
So there's a potential to pay somebody to go take pictures. You mentioned having someone who could do that for us. We also have someone who has taken a lot of these pictures already for other purposes that is willing to
Make
help
those
us out.
available?
We would have to pay them for the use of them.
Okay,
But they've already taken the pictures.
okay.
So yes, that is
So
part of
there
the
is
price
some
as well.
cost still on taking those pictures.
Yep.
Can I make a suggestion? And pick it
Yeah.
apart, guys, pick it apart. But I think we ought to fund the website development, and we ought to set probably $500 aside for either the graphic or the plaque, whichever it needs to be for that particular location. That will give us somewhere between 25 and 30 of these covered in that. And I think we need to set some funds aside for the pictures. And then I think next year, we need to, early in the year, so it's all being lined up this year, spending the money for the pictures out of this year. And then next year, we need to do the calendar first thing as our first priority. And for the price differences, I would say do the 750. I mean, the cost difference to go from,
Yeah.
you know, let's do 750 and then let's see how it does. And if it doesn't work out great, well, you know, it wasn't much more money than 250. So that would be my suggestion on our strategy, and authorize the staff to spend what it takes to get those pieces of the project done in this calendar year, and just keep us informed. I mean, we've already said what we want. I don't think they need to come back for approvals each month. They just need to give us status updates.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I have a couple comments. All right, okay. We have two people on our board of directors at the Art Center, Blue Ridge Art Center, who are professional photographers, who would do it maybe for nothing. I know one of them probably would do it for nothing. He would take the pictures. So that's one thing. Number two, the murals that are in Seneca, all the latest ones that I sent to Charlotte Waters, sent me an email, and she wanted to have pictures and locations where the murals are in Seneca. So I sent her that information with the addresses and the pictures and the artists and the, oh, you have it? Okay. So every single one of those murals has a metal description of who the artist is and what the title. Now, it doesn't have the QR code, but it already has those for the ones that are around the city of Seneca. And thirdly, there's another print shop in Seneca called Blue Mountain Printing, and I do a lot of printing there, and their prices are unbelievably inexpensive. They do very, very good work, but, and I know Mike at Print It, and he does a very good job, but as far as just checking prices, at Blue Mountain, I would suggest that you maybe check their prices, because, see if they can, if you want to do that. I know you might know Mike Wallace and want to stay with him, but Blue Mountain does a very nice job.
So on the quote, we've got the 20, the sign is the same thing, would look the same as the floor mat. It's just the type, or is the sign,
It's a metal type sign that would have to be mounted to the wall. So you would probably do some kind of spacer behind it to, kind of give it a little bit of effect to it. And then to have a metal sign on the wall with the QR code on it. The ones that already have the interpretation on it, then you're really just wanting to add the digital piece to it and put the QR code on it. So, that question would, each one of these are gonna have a specific question. It's gonna take some time to go to each town and talk about these murals and determine, with this mural we want, is this possible? And there may be some where it's not possible. So we've got to put that list together.
Was there a reason we didn't get a price or anything on doing the post with the sign on the end of it? Where we had the pictures, the
The
samples?
majority of these have sidewalks, and so there's nowhere to put the post.
So the sidewalk goes right up to the mural, there's no,
Most
No
sidewalks
signage.
go up to the building in a lot of these situations.
Okay.
or it could be on same situation as a building if it's on someone else's property. Now, not only are we asking to affix a sign to a wall, we're asking, can we dig something into your property that then
No,
could
it-
get into a responsibility
it
issue?
could be anchored into the concrete, but I get your point.
Yeah, and Melody is new to what we're trying to do, but we're talking about how can we promote all the wonderful murals, and you were a big part of doing a lot of these murals. To create a digital piece to say, if someone's walking around, oh, here's a QR code, I can capture some information about this artist and this mural.
I have a Google site with all my murals and information on it already, and a
Okay.
QR code,
5 and then lift.
so,
So does each of the murals that you've done already have a QR code on it?
no, I was looking into buying plaques on my own,
Well, this could be the opportunity.
but I was just gonna have, everything under one QR code. You could just go to the website and
Right.
search the murals, because they're the ones that I'm doing in Westminster, but I wouldn't mind having a plaque. They're pretty expensive for me to buy one for each building, and I know that the building owners wouldn't object to having anything put on their building.
Yeah, our goal was to have the QR so that it could be more about your website, more about you, and not just whatever you got fit on a plaque.
I know, that's why, I
Yeah,
was gonna do one plaque with the big mural in Westminster that's 100 feet long, that I would have the QR code on that one, and then I was gonna put my name and the names of the murals and everything on the others. A lot of them have a lot of history, that take a lot of space. And especially the bluegrass mural, they're all local musicians that I researched that are on that wall. A lot of them are from Westminster, so there's names and, things to go with each face.
So the goal behind the website is on Visit Oconee, under the Arts and Cultural page, there'll be just one icon that talks about murals. And then from that icon, you can then go to a landing page that would have each mural. And on that landing page is where you would then interpret and share as much information as you wanted about each mural. And the individual landing page would be, each one would have its own identity per QR code. So the QR code would take you to that particular mural's information. Or if you were at your computer and you went through, you could see the little landing page and, they would list them all, and then you could click on each one. So two different functions, whether you're sitting at your desktop or whether you're out on your phone, you could then just hover it over the QR code and it would take you right to that.
And ideally, if she's got a website of her own ones, we want that QR code to hit her website,
So what you would do
because
is
then
you
she
would,
would keep it up to date. We don't
Right.
have to keep it up to date.
well, in order to do this as one project, you would functionality, you would build within Visit Oconee. And then on ours, we would
Link it to hers.
Right, right.
So we would put, a direct link to her website so that they can click straight off of there onto her website. But in order for the web creator to build it, you want them to build the whole thing together, and then you just link link off of that to.
Well, I think that piece of it ought to be a priority. And I'm prepared to pay for signs, whatever it takes to get them on there. That's not a huge expense. I mean, how many murals do we have in the county?
Well, we used the number 20, just to get our quotes.
Okay.
But he said, you know, you could go 30 or 40, the price is not gonna change until you get way on up higher in quantity. So that's about the price you're gonna be per, whether you do the sidewalk piece or the sign, that's about the price you're gonna pay. Same thing with the website. The website creation, the page is about
That's the big
$1,500 max, and then there's unlimited how many you can add after that, because we do that part in-house. So Shonda and Charlotte would then build the backside of the content based on, you know, what the web creator makes for us. So what I'm hearing, you know, in the discussion is to proceed with the web piece of it. We'll start building some information. We'll have to put together a content, page that we would send to all the artists, you know, get their permission, get all their information that they would want on there, so that we can start populating that once it's built. It'll take a couple of weeks to get the website built and up, and that'll give us time to get information to the artists and have them start returning things back to us, so that we can start populating those pages. And then Visit Oconee and that web piece will create the QR code, and then we'll just go to the printer to print these pieces. But there's some legwork in there, going to each town, you know, I've gotta have a little bit of time to go to each town, communicate about who needs to answer permission form, and we'll document all that we were able to do, either a sign or a graphic on the sidewalk. So there's a little bit of legwork between here and the next meeting to try to get some of that knocked out. But that's the discussion I'm hearing, and if they're all shaking heads, maybe we put that in the form of a motion.
Well, let me follow it up, because I think the other piece goes right with it, is we need to get a photographer settled. So whether it's a free one through one of your group, or paying for one, we need to get that piece settled as well, so we know how much money we're spending there, because, you know, if that eats up the balance, then that's fine. If it doesn't eat up the balance, we may take on one more project this year, and then do this printing next year. So I'm sorry?
With the photographer, you know, we've got the, well, I guess, yeah, we would need them for the murals, and then have, like you said, have the pictures ready for the calendar next year.
And I think we need to be involved in the selection of the pictures, because I assume there's more than 12, or even more than 13, if you do a 13-month calendar. So I think we need to look at the options and say, we pick this one or that, or, you know.
So
I think we ought to have some input in that, but if anybody disagrees, that's fine. So I'm prepared to put a motion on the table that says to get the website done, allocate the funds necessary, I won't limit it to $1,500. Funds necessary, to set aside money for the printing of these things, and I would say for now, let's say we set aside 500, which is almost enough to do 20 of each, but would give us room to work with. And that we get active on the selection of pictures and whatever cost that does incur, if it incurs any. And that would be our goals between now and May. That still gives us June to adjust if we need to adjust.
When you talk about photographers, are you talking about somebody taking pictures now for the website?
Now for the calendar.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
The
need-
pictures go
those
on
taken
them,
down.
would they go on their
But
website?
we would need them on the website
Yeah,
as
you
well,
need them
so,
Okay.
Yeah.
so they should,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, if we go ahead and get them now, we can have more on the website if there's 20, you know, and not necessarily get them all published or available, until we're ready. But you would have that batch, and then of that batch, we could pick 12. Or maybe he or she, the photographer, does a collage of a few for 1 month.
Right.
So, I do think getting all the photos up front for the now is gonna help in both projects.
And if that costs money, we've got the funds, and let's allocate it for that.
Would you
So,
like to check with the two folks and get back with me next week? And that way, if that's possible, we can run with that. If it's not, then I
Okay.
can go the direction that I was headed.
Okay, I know 3 photographers, so I will ask them, okay?
And right now, in front of me, I have a list of about 16, and there may be more that I don't know about. So,
okay, well, we want them all on the website.
we
but
want to get
we'll-
them,
we'll
as many
pick
as we
12
can
first.
listed.
12 or
And
13.
so what I'll do is when I get the list compiled completely, I'll share it with everybody because especially the artists, they're gonna know, am I missing one somewhere? And we'll share that information. I'll share that back to you when I get the Excel sheet done. It's gonna be at least the end of next week because I'm tied up, in state meetings early next week, but I'll get that started and, once we get the answer on the photographer, we'll be ready to take that next step. Hopefully at the next meeting, we may can have some photos for you to begin selecting and, some things to look at.
Are you clear on the motion, or do I need to
Yeah, I was
restate
gonna
it?
say,
Do we have a second?
Tom has made the motion. Is there a second?
The motion as I have it is funds necessary to do the website creation, up to $500 for either plates and or markers, and then photographer, we need to follow up on that, but as long as that fits in the budget, proceed with the photographer, as long as it fits in the budget. That's what I have written down.
I second.
1 second. Going to Suzette's point on Blue Mountain, if, as this project and our years going through, if we end up pushing out the calendar like we're planning to till next budget year, perhaps we'll get a requote.
Sure.
And get one from Blue Mountain, just checks and balances and,
Yeah, because this probably is a 30-day quote if I had to guess, so you would want to redo that anyway.
okay.
We need to do a final discussion and then a vote on that motion in a second.
So is there any other discussions that we want to talk about for the QR project? Okay, so then we'll take our final vote as the motion is stated. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next item is partner update Gateway Arts Center.
I'm gonna take this off.
Okay.
Like everybody else, our programs were completely interrupted by COVID, so we have basically been closed since March. I've been doing some individual classes and lessons for adults and special needs, but our Tribble Center classes came to a halt and they got quarantined, and as far as I know, they're still under quarantine.
They are.
They are? Yeah. We kept on trying to do shows, and then, there was limited response at the very beginning especially. So what we did was at the last board meeting, we decided we were just gonna wait until August, so we could open and not have to worry about social distancing as much. Maybe everybody would have the vaccine by that point, because we'd like to have just a normal reception and, rather than keep scheduling things and then have to cancel, because you never know what's gonna come down the pike as far as that goes. I'm planning for camp. I have 3 weeks in June. Everything's all ready to go on that. And I have new classes and step-by-steps that are gonna start in March. And the biggest blessing from this COVID outbreak was I got tired of sitting inside, so I started painting outside. And I put the Mona Lisa, Starry Night, and the 3 musicians on my own building. And then I went about asking people if I could put something that related to their business on their building. And they looked at me like I was crazy at first. They said they didn't understand, and then I showed them, I printed all the pictures. And each one that I did, well, the first 2 that I did, at first it was like, I don't know, but then when they came in the next day, because it only took a day or 2 to do those 2, they loved it. And then I had people stopping and asking me for the rest of that time to do it. I had 2 commissions, and then I donated 4. The last one I finished was The Last Supper. So,
Was what, Melody?
The Last Supper.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and then I have 7 more. I have 3 building-sized one in here in Seneca, 2 in Westminster, and then 7 smaller scale murals, which would be about 6 feet.
That's right.
Where's your one in Seneca?
It's gonna be on Ken Sloan's property.
Okay, all right, very good.
And they look incredible.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
if some of you have not seen them, you can't believe, she is one of
Bring
the most
pictures.
talented ladies ever.
Thank you.
Bring pictures, show pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're,
I would
they-
encourage you to drive through Westminster and take a look
Oh,
at the buildings in and around town. I mean, it's quite incredible.
there's one up there, the Old Mill, I don't know if anybody, yeah, you probably are familiar, the Old Mill teams.
Yep.
The baseball mural is dedicated to the Old Mill teams from Oconee. And then the bluegrass, of course, I told you about. The other ones, I really wanted to put classic art on a wall. So that's what I did, you know, I wanted it to be relatable though. And, you know, it was fun doing it.
Melody, could you possibly take pictures of all your murals and
I
send them
have,
to
I have
Phil?
pictures of all of them.
And send them to Phil
They're
so we
on,
can see them?
they're either on my website
Oh,
itself, or I moved them all to the other one, but I think they're on my website still.
and what's
The only
that?
one I don't have, well, I have a good picture of Last Supper. That was the last one I did, and it started to get cold.
What's your website? Just,
GatewayArtCenter.net.
okay.
Thank you, Melody. The other, last item is Vacancy District 2, Walhalla, still Still
We
open?
received a questionnaire today.
good, good.
So, I did not get a name with that, but I know there's a questionnaire that came in today, so potentially by the next council meeting and by your next meeting, we'll be back up to 7. So we'll have another table down here, since we're all doing everything on. And, so yeah, we're close, so. But that happened after I'd already printed everything out. She called me late today and said we had a questionnaire turned in. The only thing I would remind you, on the May and the November meetings, those are an hour earlier, and I noted that on your agenda.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that the $500 that we got, the Art Center got, I've got a small committee, two people on our board who are looking at that back area, and we're gonna meet next Wednesday. We have some architects or landscape architects who are gonna look at it, and we have some really exciting ideas that we are going to be doing. We're very thrilled to be able to have some money to get started on this, then we hope to get some donations. But we hope to have our next show in May, and the title of it's going to be New Beginnings. So we're hoping that it'll be new beginnings inside, and then people will be able to go outside and see our backyard area. And we will give all kinds of thanks to this committee for doing that, for helping us get started.
Okay, those were all of our discussion items. With that, we'll get a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and second,
I second it.
okay. We
Takes
are-
me longer to get here and back than it does to the meeting.